Hello everyone. Welcome back to Magnifico Recaps. Today we will narrate a biography, crime adventure movie called Captain Phillips. Spoilers ahead, so proceed with care. Captain Richard Phillips is gathering his passport and other necessary items as he heads to the airport with his wife Andrea. On the way, they express their concern over the changing times and the effects it will have on their children, as they know that their children are growing in a different world than the one they did. They arrive at the airport and Andrea assures her husband that everything will be fine. They kiss each other goodbye and Phillips heads in. A group of vans driven by mercenaries arrives in a Somalian village. A child goes to wake up a man named Abdulwali Muse. The mercenaries are angry that the villagers haven't provided them with good for their boss, a warlord named Garad. Muse gathers 3 men, Bilal, Almi, and a quiet but forceful man named Naji, to join another pirate named Azad to go off on small boats to find a ship to hijack. Phillips arrives at the port where all the cargo is being boarded onto the Maersk Alabama. He meets first mate Shane Murphy, who tells him the plan is to deliver the cargo to Mombasa. Not long after, the ship departs on its voyage. The pirate's Captain Huffan checks the radar on his boat to find that there is a whole herd of ships nearby, but it would be risky to try and take one among all the others. They then notice one ship that is separated from the rest. Phillips goes on the bridge and spots on the radar 2 skiffs nearby. He informs Shane about it and he turns the ship 5 degrees to see if they'll follow, and sure enough, the pirates do. Phillips gets in touch with the UK Maritime Trade Operations to inform them of a possible piracy situation. The MTO officer tells Phillips to get the fire hoses ready, though she suspects these may just be fishermen. Phillips knows they're not there to fish. He alerts the crew and tells them to get to their stations. He grabs the radio and pretends to be calling in a fighter ship by masking his voice, knowing the pirates are picking it up on their radio. Muse attempts to speed up his boat to catch up with the Maersk Alabama, even as the waves are getting high. Ultimately, his engine gives out, leaving him and his men stranded. Phillips addresses his crew and tells them they are still going through with their mission as planned and to remain at their stations. One crew member expresses his concern of the pirates returning, to which Phillips replies that if anybody wants to leave, they will have to wait until they get to Mombasa. He later sends an email to Andrea to keep her updated on the voyage. Muse tries to fix his engine while Azad continues to mock and insult him from his boat. Muse asks him to give him his engine, and Azad just remarks that he is skinny. Muse hits back with "I may be skinny, but I am not a coward." This enrages Azad, who begins to aim his gun at Muse, but he grabs a rifle of his own and whacks Azad over the head, killing him. He takes his boat along with his 3 men. The following morning, the pirates continue their mission. Phillips spots them and once again has the crew go to their stations. Muse calls out to the crew to warn them that he and his men are coming on board. He grabs his rifle and fires at Phillips and another crew member. Phillips orders the crew to get the hoses ready, and they start to pour water out to stop the pirates, but they steer their boat around the side of the ship. They take their ladder out and hook it onto the side and begin climbing. Phillips alerts the crew and tells everybody to go down to the engine room. The pirates enter the bridge and threaten Phillips and the other remaining crew members. Muse approaches him calmly and says he is the captain now, and then asks what sort of materials the ship is carrying, other than food and water. Phillips tells him that there is $30,000 in a safe, but Naji demands millions. Muse orders Phillips to tell him where the crew is, though he says he doesn't know where they are. Muse grabs the radio and warns that with each passing minute, he will kill 1 man, all while Phillips tells him that he must shoot anyone, he ought to shoot the captain. Before they shoot Officer Ken Quinn, Muse tells Phillips they are going to search the ship, and with his thumb on the radio, he tips off the crew about the emergency power while telling it to Muse. Phillips agrees to go with Muse to look for the crew on the condition that they leave once they get their money without hurting anybody, but Muse says no game. Muse then resorts to calling Phillips Irish after he tells him that he is Yankee Irish. The crew members come up with a plan to shut off the emergency power while keeping themselves secure. Muse goes with Phillips and Bilal to search for the crew. They find a supply of food and water, which Phillips offers them, but they decline. One crew member notices that Bilal is barefoot and sets some broken glass on the floor before they enter the engine room. Bilal steps on the glass and severely cuts his foot. He is sent back outside to the ship with Phillips, leaving Muse by himself to continue his search. Shane and a few other crew members jump him and cut his hand. They radio the pirates on the bridge to tell them that they have Muse, and for them to leave if they want him back alive. Najee threatens to kill the crew members on the bridge, forcing Phillips to order them to bring Muse back to the bridge. Phillips takes the $30,000 from the safe and hands it to the pirates. However, they take a lifeboat and bring Phillips with them as a hostage. The crew watches in horror as he is abducted. The captain of the destroyer USS Bainbridge, Frank Castellano, is informed of the hijacking and subsequent capturing of Phillips on the lifeboat. Meanwhile, the pirates plan to take Phillips with them back to Somalia. A scan eagle flies over the ocean to spot the lifeboat as the Bainbridge is closing in on it. The crew on that ship determines that it'll take up to 36 hours for them to reach Somalia. On the lifeboat, Phillips notices that Bilal is still losing blood from the cut on his foot. He begins to treat it with bandages, but once he pulls out his knife, Elmi yells about it and Najee takes it away from Phillips. Phillips notices that Bilal is significantly younger than the other three men and wonders why Bilal got himself into this. A group of Navy officers arrive on the Maersk Alabama to rescue the rest of the crew and tell them they will be sent home safely. A man on the Bainbridge called Nemo tries to communicate with the pirates and offers them supplies in exchange for the safe return of Phillips. They send a boat with Navy officers and Nemo that is carrying food and water to the lifeboat, and then request for Phillips to be shown to them. Muse orders a higher sum of money and pulls Phillips back inside. In Virginia, a Navy officer is informed that the White House gave them permission to go ahead with the rescue mission and use whatever force necessary. A group of SEALs board a chopper to head to the ocean. Muse tries to reach Huffan to tell him they have captured Phillips. When Huffan responds, he tells them that because the mission did not go as planned, they need to bring Phillips to Somalia. Muse tells Phillips that the mission was supposed to be simple: hijack the ship, get the ransom, and nobody would get hurt, and he's come too far to give up now. Phillips says there must be something other than kidnapping people, to which Muse replies, maybe in America, Irish. Maybe in America. As the evening comes, the Bainbridge is joined by the USS Halliburton to aid in the rescue mission. An officer tells Muse that they contacted the elders of the Somali tribe, and they are willing to arrive to make negotiations for the release of Phillips. Phillips tells Muse that he needs to take a piss, so he allows him to step out of the lifeboat quickly with Bilal watching him. When Bilal is distracted, Phillips pushes him into the water and then jumps in himself. He starts swimming toward the Bainbridge, and the crew spots him and Bilal in the water, but they are unable to identify Phillips because it is too dark. Najee aims his rifle at Phillips and tries to kill him so he won't escape, all while Muse orders him to pull back. Muse jumps in himself to get Phillips back into the lifeboat, and Phillips loses his shirt in the process. Once he's there, Najee furiously starts to attack him. One of the officers on the Bainbridge contacts the lifeboat and identifies all the pirates by their names, which appears to alarm them. They have Muse step out of the lifeboat and go onto the Bainbridge as they are towing the lifeboat toward them. Muse requests to see the elders, though he's just told that they'll be coming soon. The officers have a visual on Najee steering the boat, but not on the other two. Back on the lifeboat, Phillips grabs a shirt to put on, and Najee tells him if he moves again, Elmi will shoot him. This threat is picked up on Bainbridge. Phillips then quickly grabs a pen and paper to write one last note to his family. Bilal pleads with him to stop or Najee will kill them both. Najee sees Phillips writing and grabs the paper from him. This pushes Phillips to the edge and he attacks Najee. Bilal and Elmi pull Phillips off Najee and they tie him up and blindfold him, leading to a tense standoff where the pirates realize that the elders aren't coming. The Bainbridge stops the tow to get a visual on all three pirates, which gives the snipers the opportunity to shoot and kill them. Their blood sprays onto Phillips and he screams. Muse is then arrested while Phillips is safely taken from the boat. Phillips is treated for his wounds on the medical bay of the Bainbridge. The doctor asks him if he is hurt and inspects his wounds, including those around his wrists from being tied up. When she asks him about the blood on him, he becomes overwhelmed with shock and distress, and he begins to break down and tearfully respond that it's not his blood. He asks if his family knows that he is safe, and the doctor tells him that they know. She lies to him and assures him that everything will be okay. The movie ends with the epilogue stating that Captain Richard Phillips was reunited with his family on April 17, 2009. Abdulwali Muse was charged with piracy and sentenced to 33 years in prison. In 2010, Captain Phillips went back to sea.